In today's video, I am going to talk about how to start a pantry. If you're a beginner like me and want to learn how to start and build a pantry, keep watching this video. Hey there, it's Chris from Gardening at the Simon Getty North. Welcome back to my channel. I'm happy to see you today. As you know, the gardening is in its winter slumber. As if you saw in my last video, basically we had Snowmageddon here, 2024, and I thought I would talk about my journey in building a pantry. I've never really had a pantry before, but I wanted to learn how to build a pantry. And I've gotten a lot of inspiration and knowledge from my friend Heather from the Needy Homesteader, who is helping me and guide me on any of the questions that I have on building a working pantry. So if you see behind me here, I just have a whole bunch of items that are stocked up on this table. Well, this corner here is actually the home of my future pantry. So I'm actually going to be moving all of this probably to the other side of the rec room here, and we are going to build a pantry that has some counter space, lots of shelves and cupboard doors to kind of hide everything, because we actually have, like when we have large family gatherings, we actually eat out here. We set up tables and the tablecloths, the whole shot. So we still want to keep it nice out here and not like a storage room. So what we're going to do is build a pantry. So that's what this is going on back here. But with everything going on, especially with the snowstorm we just had, you want to make sure that you have, food on hand, for a period of time, at least, so I can't wait to have my pantry built to have, to be prepared, for emergency preparedness and have food on hand on the shelf. So in today's video, I am going to talk about the pantry staples that every pantry should have that I have learned in my studying and asking questions on how to build a pantry. Whether you are preparing for an emergency or just wanting to have a well-stocked pantry, having these items is essential to having a working pantry and to get you through some of the hard times if it's an emergency or a medical or financial emergency, a weather emergency, whatever it is, you will be prepared and having a well-stocked pantry. So let's jump right into it. First off, rice and pasta. These are versatile items that can make any dish a meal. And they also have a long shelf life. Next up is canned goods. You can purchase, canned goods from the store, buy them when they're on sale. A lot of the times, you can get them for 50 cents a can or $1 a can, depending if you're looking at generic or name brand, or, corn, green beans, peas if you like peas. I don't really like peas. But, black-eyed peas, garbanzo beans, any types of beans to have on hand is can put any nutrients to a dish. And don't forget your canned fruits, because in any emergency you definitely want to have something sweet to eat, for that palate to, when you have that sweet tooth, you just got to have something. So you definitely want to make sure you have something sweet to eat, like canned fruits. And along with canning, like the canned vegetables and stuff, that's also something you can can from your garden. So if you're growing green beans and corn and things like that, you'll want to take those items and pressure can them, and then you can put those in the pantry instead of buying the stuff at the store. So that's kind of what I'm hoping for this year's gardening, is to be able to preserve more of my garden. My garden did horrible last year, so I want to make sure that this year it does a lot better. I have some new items that I want to grow this year, and definitely I'm going to be adding some nutrients and composting and things like that nature to all my beds this year, just to give them an extra boost, to make sure that to give them the best possible start, in the growing season. So, when I'm talking about canned foods, it doesn't necessarily have to be from the store. It can definitely be something that you preserved yourself, which is better anyway. Also, having canned meats. You can either pressure can your own meats, or you can buy, cans of canned chicken or tuna if you like tuna. There's also canned roast beef that I've seen. Definitely, if you can your own meat, definitely follow the USDA guidelines to make sure, that it's safe to eat. But, that is actually better for you. You know what's in it. There's not a ton of preservatives in it. It's probably healthier for you. And also, if you have the luxury of having a freeze dryer, maybe someday I might, but you can freeze dry any of your meats and give them a 25-year shelf life. So, there's other ways you can look at preserving and helping your pantry, growing your pantry. You can also dehydrate some things, so I've also learned that some things are better dehydrated and some things are better freeze dried. So I got to figure out what is better dehydrated, because I just bought an Excalibur dehydrator this year, or actually it was last year, 2023, to be able to use that this year and show you how I do some preservation with that as well. Making sure you have a variety of canned soups, broths, bone broths, also having sauces, seasonings, your favorite, types of sauces to jazz up any type of meal. You can have chicken 1,000 ways. It's just plain chicken, but if you have, the lemon seasoning, where it can be lemon chicken or Italian chicken, Parmesan chicken, making sure that you have different ways to flavor the food that you're going to be making also helps, having that in your pantry as well, because if your food is always bland and blah, you want to make sure that, you want to actually eat the food. And the other thing is, when you're building your pantry and buying foods in bulk or extras, you want to make sure you're buying stuff that your family is going to eat, because if you don't really like it, you're not going to really eat it, unless you're, starving. But for the most part, it's just going to end up just sitting there and be the last thing that's left on the shelf, I think. Now let's move on to dry beans. Having kidney beans, black beans, pinto beans, the great northern beans, navy beans, things in that nature in their dry form, gives a lot of depth to a meal. It also gives a lot of protein in your meal as well, where you need to, maybe stretch out your meat. You can add some beans to it, for extra protein to make your meals stretch a lot farther. And don't forget the rolled oats. Those aren't just for breakfast. They can be used for baking and many other recipes. So that's also something to have in your pantry, and stored properly, they can last for many years as well. So also you want to store baking supplies like flour, sugar, baking powder, baking soda, vanilla extract, things like that, because you need those things to be able to whip up some goodies. You may need to be able to make your own bread, so you might want to have some yeast on hand, or be able to make sourdough, things like that. The Bible says that it could come to a day's wages for a loaf of bread. So if you have your own things to make your own bread, then you wouldn't have to worry about that, right? So definitely have baking items in your pantry, and so you can make your own things from scratch when needed. Also, don't forget to have snacks like granola bars, trail mix, some nuts like almonds, pecans, macadamia nuts for quick energy. If you just need to have a quick snack just to give yourself a little pick-me-up, having those items in your pantry is essential. Also, don't forget your pets. They need to be taken care of as well in any type of emergency. So if you make your own food, make sure you have extra. If you give them kibble, make sure you have extra kibble, treats, all those types of things. Making sure you have water on hand too as well. So if the power goes out, you need to be able to have a water source. So make sure you have enough water for yourself and water for your pets. It's at least 1 gallon per person per day. And so you would have to add, I don't know, maybe a half a gallon per pet. That might be a little bit extra, more, but having extra water in an emergency definitely wouldn't hurt anybody. So, always be prepared, not scared. So that's it. Those are the pantry staple items that every pantry should have, especially, when you're trying to plan and start a working pantry for yourself. So that's kind of what I've learned in watching a lot of the YouTube videos. I've watched, of course, Heather from Needy Homesteader. I've watched Rose Red's Homestead. And there's a couple others that I've watched as well, and just learning from them to be able to get to this point in my life to be able to start my own pantry. So you definitely want to make this a working pantry. You want to make it first in, first out. So whatever you buy first, you want to be able to rotate that out. So to have a successful working pantry, everything needs to be rotated. The biggest takeaway that I've gotten from everyone that I've watched is rotate, rotate, rotate. First in, first out to be successful. And also making sure that you're only purchasing food that you and your family will eat. Those are the biggest things in having a successful pantry. So if you learned from this, like I have learned from this, smash that like button and share this video with anyone else who may enjoy or learn from this as well. Like I said, I'm just learning to start a pantry myself. As you can see, I've got all this stuff back here. I did a video that I'll put up here. It was my Costco and Sam's Club haul, and that's where a lot of this had come from. Well, not all at once, but I've been slowly buying things from Costco, and then I had just purchased a Sam's Club membership where I'd gotten some things from them, where I got a $20 membership for the year, which was kind of cool. So I've been slowly building this, but that haul, it was pretty big as well. But as you can see, I got beans here, I got Redmond's real salt. This is all pasta in this bin down here. These are all baking supplies. I've got coffee. I've got 5-gallon buckets down below with baking supplies to keep them bug-free and, pest safe. That's another thing. Making sure that you store your stuff. Even if you use like Mylar bags, rodents can get in them. So you don't want to store anything that a rodent can get into. So if you've got them in a Mylar bag, you can put them in the 5-gallon buckets, or get like totes like these where they can't really get in there. It makes it very difficult, so they might just give up anyway. But you want to make sure that your pantry is free of rodents. And I'm going to be doing a series of how to store food properly. I've got one on storing rice for long term coming up, and I'm going to be doing water storage as well, a more in-depth for that. So I'm learning a lot, and I'm hoping to share my information that I have learned with you so you can learn with me. So, you know, the series is, you know, come learn with me and let's build a pantry. So stay tuned for more Come Learn With Me videos to help you and your family stay prepared and not scared. Hope to see you at the next video. God bless.